Hey, John here. Here's lick of the day number 80. This is a Neoclassical sweep run, and as usual you can find a link to the tabs in the description below or by clicking right here on the screen. Gonna play it once slowly and then break it down. We start here on the 7th fret of the low E string. Right, so this one is in C minor and C harmonic minor, even though we're not really hitting that note in a scalar fashion, but it's part of this B diminished arpeggio, which is actually built from the harmonic minor note being the natural 7th in the key of C. So a diminished 7th chord is fairly easy to remember because it's based on the same interval, so it's going to be a minor third between each of the notes. So we start here on the 7th fret. We're going to go up like this: 7, 10, and then we have 8 on the A string, and then we're going to have 6 and 9 on the D string. So this kind of shape is called 2-1-2 because you have 2 notes, 1 note, and then 2 notes. And it's a really cool way of playing arpeggios that have the 7th in them. So, and diminished 7th has that, even in the name, right? So, and the way that I picked this is up, down, 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 up. And then, when we restarted here on the A string, it's also going to be an upstroke. And this shape is going to be exactly the same, except we're going to start here, a flat 5. Tritone from the starting note, and that's gonna carry on throughout the whole ascending arpeggio line here. And that's because a tritone is basically distance between two. If you put 2 minor thirds next to each other, you're gonna end up on the tritone. But if you can just look at this sort of staircase type thing, fairly easy to know where to start the next set. So the first 2 strings, or the first 2 string groups, will be in exactly the same shape, albeit starting on a different fret and a different string set. But since the guitar is tuned the same way up to that point, and then we're gonna have 2 different shapes, starting on the D string and on the G string. But it's gonna be exactly the same notes. So once we've done this, we're actually gonna repeat the same thing in octaves. So that shape then will look like this. So we have 9, 12, then we have 10, and then 9, 12. And then the next one will also look very similar, being that the outer strings will have the same frets, but in this case we need to switch to the 3rd finger in between here because of the tuning of the B string. So starting on 10, we're gonna have 10, 13, then 12, and then 10, 13. So we put it all together, and looking at the picking hand, we got up, down, 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 up, up, down, 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 up, up, down, 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 up, up, down, 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 up. So it's a 5-note pattern when we go up like this. So once we get to this point, we're gonna connect this with this chromatic run. So, and then connect, when I say connect, we're gonna connect this with the 1 chord, the C minor in this case. So and the chromatic run, I think it's easiest to visualize it from this note as a starting point. So that's going to be an upstroke, might be tricky, but that's why we want to practice all the alternate picking stuff, starting with a down and starting with an up. So when you get to licks like these, it won't be that big a deal. If you haven't ever practiced starting things with an upstroke, you might have a harder time. So but basically we just do this chromatic thing going from the 4th finger, 3, 2, 1, and then back up again. And then we shift up a whole step to 15. And if you do everything correct here, in the sense doing it the way that I did it in the fast version, you should end up with a downstroke here. So, and then a pull off. So we got 15, 15, 11, upstroke on 13, and then down on 12, down on 13, and down on 11. And then we shift up to the 20th fret and go with an upstroke. So it's going to be, and then pull off to 15, upstroke on 16, 17, 17, 18, and then down on 15. So all together from the beginning. Right, so when it comes to practicing this, depends on what you've done before, as always, but assuming that you have an issue with these 2-1-2 shapes, I would work on those in isolation. We'll actually go that far. And then go through that as usual, but also take two shapes like this. Maybe you take this one and then shift it up a minor third or a half step. Actually, we can try a half step first and then go down so we get the opposite. So down, up, 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 down. So it's a good way to work on these as well, and making sure that you get those rest strokes. And if it wasn't obvious, you should do that on all the string groups. So you start down here. Up to the next one. Do that all over the fretboard and then go to the next one. Whoops. And I would also add this chromatic thing, and basically you can just go move up a half step and go down the diminished shape again. So you can actually combine working on the diminished shapes with this chromatic passing tone thing as well. And if these regular minor arpeggios are giving you trouble, work on those in the same way. Do them separately first, moving up and down the fretboard, and then work on combining them. So it's all about finding a smaller amount that you can work on and then get the reps in that way, instead of trying to play the whole thing over and over again, because that is not really efficient. Because especially if you have more issues with some part of it than other parts of it, you should address those harder parts first if you want to progress in the fastest way possible. All right, that's it for this one. If you have any questions, just post them below. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next one.